In the middle of one of the most violent storms on Earth, a creature stands completely still. Temperature, minus 40 degrees. Wind speed, over 100 miles per hour. No shelter, no food, no warmth. And yet it doesn't move, because moving would mean leaving behind the one thing it has chosen to protect above everything else, an egg. This is the emperor penguin, and what it does next will make you question everything you thought you knew about loyalty, love, and commitment. We've seen them in cartoons. We've laughed at them waddling across ice. We've called them cute. But underneath that tuxedo exterior lives one of the most emotionally complex creatures on the planet. A creature that chooses a partner, builds a family, fights through impossible conditions to keep that family alive, and sometimes breaks apart in ways that will genuinely break your heart. Today, we are going inside the world of penguin relationships, the loyalty, the bonding rituals that take days, the heartbreaking separations, the shocking betrayals. And by the end of this video, you may never look at your own relationships the same way again. Imagine standing in a crowd of 50,000 people. Everyone looks almost identical. Same height, same clothes, same color. And somewhere in that crowd, you have to find the one person meant for you. That is exactly what a penguin does every single year. Emperor penguin colonies can contain up to 50,000 birds, all of them looking remarkably similar to human eyes. Yet somehow, penguins find each other. Every penguin on Earth has a unique vocal signature. Scientists call it a contact call. Think of it as a fingerprint made of sound. From the very first season of searching for a mate, a penguin begins listening, not just hearing, listening, scanning tens of thousands of voices for one that feels right. When two penguins find each other through sound, something extraordinary begins. A courtship ritual that can last for days. They stand face to face. They bow deeply to each other, a gesture scientists call the ecstatic display. They stretch their necks toward the sky and call out together. They walk in synchronized steps. They touch flippers. They preen each other's feathers in a behavior called allopreening, one of the most intimate acts in the animal kingdom. What's happening here is not random. These birds are learning each other, memorizing each other's voice, each other's movement, each other's presence, because in the months ahead, that memory will be the only thing keeping their family alive. Penguins show clear preferences. In studies observing gentoo and chinstrap penguins, researchers notice that when given opportunities to interact with multiple potential mates, penguins consistently return to specific individuals. Penguins are not simply following instinct blindly, they are making choices, and those choices carry consequences that last an entire season, sometimes much longer. Once two penguins have chosen each other, something remarkable begins. A bond forms, and this bond is not symbolic. It is not decorative. It is survival. In the Antarctic winter, emperor penguins face conditions that would kill most other creatures within hours. Temperatures that freeze exposed skin in seconds. Winds that can knock a human off their feet. Darkness that lasts for months. And the male emperor penguin faces all of this alone. After the female lays a single egg, she transfers it carefully to the male, a process so delicate that if the egg touches the ice for more than a few seconds, it dies. The female then walks away, into the blizzard, toward the ocean, 60 to 70 miles away. She will not return for 2 months, and the male stands there, holding that egg on his feet, covered by a warm flap of belly skin called a brood pouch, for 65 to 75 days, without eating, without leaving, without knowing for certain whether she is coming back. By the time the female returns, the male will have lost nearly half his body weight. He will be surviving on nothing but the memory of her voice and the warmth of the egg beneath him. Researchers studying Magellanic penguins in Argentina made a discovery that genuinely surprised them. When reunited after months apart, penguin partners showed measurable signs of excitement. Scientists observed pairs that had been together for multiple seasons engaging in longer and more elaborate reunion rituals than newly formed pairs, as if the relationship itself was deepening over time. as if they had genuinely missed each other. One researcher described watching a pair reunite after a long separation and wrote in her notes, "If I had seen this behavior in humans, I would have called it joy." For years, popular media described penguins as perfectly monogamous creatures, lifelong partners, devoted forever, and that image was beautiful. It was also incomplete. Penguins do not always stay together forever. Most penguin species practice what scientists call seasonal monogamy. They are completely devoted to one partner during a breeding season. They work together, they protect each other, they raise their chick together. But when the next season arrives, some of them choose differently. Among emperor penguins, studies suggest that only around 15 to 20% of pairs reunite for a second consecutive season. The first reason is timing. If two partners arrive back at the colony at different times and one of them bonds with another available penguin before the original partner returns, the original bond may simply be lost. The second reason is breeding success. Penguins that failed to raise a chick in the previous season are statistically more likely to choose a new partner the following year. Researchers believe this may be an instinctive response to improve outcomes. Sometimes a penguin simply chooses someone else. In long-term studies of Magellanic penguins conducted over decades in Argentina, researchers documented cases of what they carefully described as partner switching. In some of these cases, the switching appeared to involve choosing a new partner, while the original partner was still present in the colony and available. Scientists are careful with their language, but the behavior they documented looked remarkably familiar. The males huddle together, thousands of them, all holding eggs, all slowly starving. They form what scientists call a huddle, a rotating mass of bodies sharing warmth. The penguins on the outside of the huddle face the worst of the wind, but they don't stay on the outside. Slowly, continuously, the huddle rotates. Every penguin takes a turn on the cold, exposed edge. Every penguin eventually gets time in the warmer center. No penguin is left permanently in the cold. In one of the harshest environments on Earth, these birds have developed a system of shared suffering, collective protection, no individual left behind. Each male stands with his egg, waiting. Researchers have observed male emperor penguins talking to their eggs, soft vocalizations directed downward, toward the shell, toward the chick developing inside. Scientists believe this may help the chick begin learning its father's unique vocal signature before it even hatches, so that the moment it enters the world, it already knows one voice. It already knows it is not alone. After 2 months of walking 60 to 70 miles across Antarctic ice, after weeks of feeding in the ocean and rebuilding her strength, the female returns. She arrives at the edge of a colony of thousands of identical-looking birds, in the dark, in the cold, with one tool to find her partner, her voice. She calls, and somewhere in that crowd of thousands, he hears her, and he calls back. When they finally reach each other, they bow. They call together. They touch. The male transfers the egg or newly hatched chick, and then he leaves, immediately, because he is now dangerously close to starvation. He walks those same 60 to 70 miles to the ocean. He feeds for the first time in over 2 months, and when he has recovered enough strength, he walks back to find her again, by voice, in the dark, in the crowd, again. This cycle of separation and reunion, repeated multiple times across a single breeding season, is not a romantic story humans invented. It is documented scientific reality. Every time researchers witness it, many of them describe feeling something unexpected, something they struggle to put into professional language, something that simply feels like witnessing love. In 1998, keepers at Central Park Zoo in New York noticed something unusual. 2 male chinstrap penguins named Roy and Silo were behaving like a bonded pair. They performed courtship rituals together. They built a nest together. They attempted to incubate a rock as though it were an egg. Roy and Silo incubated it successfully. They raised the chick named Tango together, taking turns keeping her warm, feeding her, protecting her. Same-sex penguin pairs have been documented in the wild and in captivity across multiple species. The bonding behaviors are identical to those of male-female pairs. The courtship rituals, the vocalizations, the physical closeness, the cooperative chick rearing. The bonding drive in penguins is not simply about reproduction, it is about connection, about partnership, about having someone to face the cold with. And that drive does not appear to discriminate. Not every reunion happens. Not every partner returns. In the brutal environment where penguins live, partners are sometimes lost to predators, to storms, to starvation, to the simple, unforgiving mathematics of survival. Behavioral changes, reduced vocalization, decreased activity, a tendency to stand apart from the colony. In some documented cases, a penguin that has lost its partner will return to the same location where they last bonded and stand there, calling, waiting, for a response that never comes. Many researchers who have spent years studying these birds will quietly admit that watching a penguin stand alone at a reunion site, calling into empty air, is one of the hardest things they have ever witnessed in the field. In the end, the penguin does not choose its life because it is easy. It chooses it because something inside it drives it toward connection, toward partnership, toward another voice in the dark. It endures months of starvation, 60-mile walks across ice, blizzards that would end a human life in minutes, not for territory, not for dominance, but to stand beside one other creature and raise something together. Scientists will continue debating exactly what penguins feel, whether their bonds constitute something we would recognize as love, whether their separations cause something we would recognize as grief. When you watch a male emperor penguin stand motionless in a minus 40-degree blizzard, holding an egg on his feet, waiting for a voice he memorized months ago, the question of whether it is love almost stops mattering, because whatever it is, it looks like the most devoted thing on Earth. If this story moved you, subscribe to Birdhearts for more incredible wildlife stories that will change the way you see the natural world. Do you think penguins truly feel love? Or is it all just survival? I'll see you in the next one.